Hi, this is Yvonne McNary, and I'm here with Jennifer Osborne today from the Marion County Health Department, and she's a health educator there.
Yes,
Good morning.
Good morning.
So nice to have you because the weather is cooling off.
It's getting there. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if we're going to have an autumn or not. I'm waiting. I'm still waiting for it.
Yeah, well, it looks like it's going to heat up a little bit by the end of the week, but still pretty pleasant.
Yeah,
Pretty pleasant. And we've moved into October, so we're in the flu season.
You are
now.
correct. You're correct.
So I thought we better talk about that this morning.
Sure.
Flu season, flu shots. Okay, who should get a flu shot?
Who should get a flu shot? Well, the Centers for Disease Control, CDC, recommends that anyone who is over the age of 6 months receive a flu vaccine. Obviously, there are some folks who cannot due to maybe some allergies with the components of the flu vaccine, but it is recommended that anyone over the age of 6 months receive a flu shot.
Okay. Now, is this the same vaccine that we had last year, or does it change every year?
It changes every year, and that's one of the reasons why it's so important for people to go and be vaccinated every year. Not only because your antibodies do tend to weaken after a period of a year's time, that vaccine starts to weaken a little bit over time, but then it's also recommended to get a flu shot every year because the vaccine changes. The vaccine is actually, most flu vaccines are what you call a trivalent vaccine, which means it contains protection against 3 different flu viruses.
Okay.
And those 3 different flu viruses changes each year based on what the previous flu season has looked like.
Okay. Okay. So it does change from year to year.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I know we have, with the regular flu, so we always say it's flu season. What does flu season mean?
The typical timeline for that general flu season runs anywhere. Most cases do occur between October and February,
Okay.
but sometimes it can go as long as May. But a flu vaccine really it's good for about a year. So, you know, I hear a lot of times people say, well, it's too early to get the flu shots. You know, if flu shots become available in September, people worry about getting it too early. It is not too early to get a flu shot because we want you to get it. It takes about 2 weeks before your body creates those antibodies and that vaccine becomes active. So you do need to go ahead and get your flu vaccine as soon as it becomes available because it does take about 2 weeks before you to get that full protection.
Okay, now what do you tell people who get symptoms after they take the flu shot? They go,
Okay.
oh, I took that flu shot and I got sick.
Yeah, the flu shot itself is an inactivated flu virus. So it is a dead virus. So I know people a lot of times think, well, they're giving us the flu if we get a flu shot. No, it is a dead virus. So people do, however, sometimes have some reactions to the vaccine itself. And that is just, most of the time they may run a very low-grade fever, they may have some soreness or redness at the site of the injection. Those are your typical symptoms from getting a flu vaccine. You're not getting the flu. You're just having a few reactions to the vaccine.
Okay. Now, what are some of the outlets that people can go to get their flu immunizations?
Yeah, obviously we do have flu vaccine available at the health department, but any healthcare provider office, you know, it's always recommended that you speak to your healthcare provider before receiving any type of vaccination because they do need to check to make sure that you don't have any kind of, you know, any kind of condition that would keep you from getting a flu vaccine. So always speak with healthcare provider first, but their offices should be able to get them. There are some pharmacies locally that provide flu vaccine as well. But
okay, now what if I get the flu? Should I then go and get a flu shot, or is it too late for me?
No, it is not too late. Any time to go get a flu shot because the type of flu that you got may be different from what is actually in the flu vaccine or what is protected with the flu vaccine. And sometimes, you know, we'll hear from season to season too that people got a flu shot, but darn it, they got the flu anyway. And that does happen because there are so many different strains of the influenza virus. So the vaccine itself protects against what they think is going to be the top 3 of the season, but then there are so many more that a person could get. the benefit of getting a flu shot is, even if you are the unlucky person who gets one of those flu vaccines or one of those flu strains that's not protected against, the benefit is you're probably going to have a lot less symptoms from it. You're going to have not as many complications from that particular virus. So your body has created some antibodies against the influenza virus, and it's going to help. It's going to keep you from being so sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to pneumonia. I know recently I've been hearing more and more about getting shots for pneumonia, and where I hadn't seen that before. Tell us a little bit about that.
Honestly, there are two different types of pneumococcal vaccine. There is one, which you may hear the brand name Prevnar thrown out there quite often. Prevnar is actually given to infants and small children up to about the age of 2. And then it is also recommended for those over the age of 65 to get a Prevnar series as well. It does help protect against certain pneumococcal infections. There is also another pneumococcal vaccine, you hear it called Pneumovax, and that one is recommended for those that are over the age of 65.
Okay, so there's one for the kids, Prevnar, for the younger kids, and then there's another one for the older adults. Okay, now tell me, what does this guard against that the flu vaccine does not guard against?
Pneumonia is actually, that is caused by a bacteria.
Okay.
Whereas a flu, that is a virus, so it's two completely different things.
So we can't substitute one for the other?
Nope, you need all of them.
All of these are going to make us safe, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And you don't just need them once. A flu vaccine, you need that every year.
Okay.
That is not something you get one time and have lifetime immunity for. So now with pneumococcal vaccine, that's a different story. That one's going to give you prolonged protection from those.
Okay, so
illnesses.
you don't need the pneumonia one every year. Okay. Now tell me a little bit about cost. I'm going to back up to the flu vaccine. Any idea what we should be paying for these shots?
If you do not have any type of health insurance, any kind of anything like that, then typically you're going to pay $25 or so for a flu vaccine.
Okay.
Most insurances are going to cover it though, because it is a preventive measure.
Okay.
They would rather pay for that vaccine than have to pay for you getting treatment for flu or pneumonia or whatever the case is.
Okay. All right then. We can't substitute one for the other,
No.
and we're going to pay about $25 for the flu, for the flu vaccine. What about the vaccine for the pneumonia?
The pneumonia, most insurances are going to cover that too. I know Medicare covers the cost of that for that older population as well. Even for the infants, that up to 2-year-old, that one's covered by insurance as well.
Okay.
So kind of depending upon the insurance that you have as far as how much you're going to pay.
Okay. What about, there's another one out there now that we're seeing advertisements for, and that's for shingles.
Yes. That particular vaccine, you'll hear it referenced as Zostavax. That one is specifically for those that are over the age of 60.
Okay.
Because actually studies indicate that about 99% of the U.S. population over the age of 40 has had chickenpox, has had that chickenpox virus. And it's the same thing. Shingles comes from the same kind of virus that a person has when they get chickenpox. So, 99% of that population already has that virus inside of their body.
Okay.
That doesn't mean you can't go and get the vaccine and be protected though, because it's definitely recommended, even if you've had chickenpox as a young person or whenever you had it, it's definitely recommended to go and get the vaccine.
Okay, so with this vaccine though, is it, how do you, I know you say that the virus is already in the body, but what if you got a shot for that earlier when you were a child?
And you didn't get chickenpox?
Right.
Then the virus may not be in your body.
Oh.
But the vaccine would still protect.
Just in case.
Yes.
Just in case.
Yeah.
We always
and
want
it
to be
is,
sure.
that one is recommended for those over the age of 60.
Okay.
So that one's pretty specific population.
Okay.
And the reason is children, infants these days, they are getting a different type of vaccination for chickenpox. So, hopefully, you don't hear too many cases of chickenpox
No, you
anymore
don't.
because of that vaccine that is it's created that protection for everybody.
Okay. Now let's review a little bit for the flu. That's all from 6 months on. And then we have the one for pneumonia, and that's what the age is on there?
Well, there's the one that is for 2 and under and 65 and over.
Okay.
And then there is the other one, Pneumovax is the one you're probably going to hear about a little bit more often. That one is for the over 65 population. And I should also add that smokers are also recommended to get that Pneumovax vaccination as well. And then the Zostavax for this shingles virus, that one is for age 60 and older.
Okay. And we should, and can you give us a price range on the immunization for the shingles?
Oh goodness, I knew you were going to ask me that. It's going to vary with your health insurances as far as how much the cost is going to be. So always check with healthcare provider to see if it's recommended for you to get that that vaccine, and to make sure that you don't have any kind of indicator that would say that you shouldn't get the vaccine, because there are some people who cannot, and that's why it's important for those of us that can get vaccinated, so that we help protect those that cannot get vaccinated.
Okay. Now, are all these immunizations offered at the health department?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
And in order to get them, do you need to make an appointment?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Call. They can make you an appointment. They can give you a little bit more information about cost as well, as far as whether your insurance is covering it or not.
Okay. Can you give us that number where they should call?
It's 270-692-3393.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming out
Thank
today
you.
and informing us about this, because I see the signs up all over saying it's flu season.
It's flu season.
It's time to get your immunization so that you don't get sick during the year.
Yeah, immunizations aren't just for babies.
And you can't substitute one for the other.
That's right.
This has been Yvonne McNary for Central Kentucky Television.